Good afternoon and welcome to Spotlight on EDI, where we shine a light on some key movements in the equity, diversity and inclusion space. First, let's take a look at the headlines.
In February, our friends in the US celebrate Black History Month, so a big shout out to the movements which were birthed in the United States that inspired actions built around EDI. Ahead of this Sunday's Super Bowl, at the State Farm Arena, we have a defining moment for the NFL in its continued journey of equality and representation within the sport, with the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, and the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, making it the first Super Bowl to have two black quarterbacks battling out for the Lombardi Trophy. Hurts said it's a historic moment to be on this platform to give so many others so much inspiration moving forward, telling them that they can do it too.
We're also celebrating LGBT+ History Month, and we have a recommended piece of reading for you. Hockey legends Kate and Helen Richardson-Walsh sat down with race walking champion Tom Bosworth for Sky Sports to talk childcare barriers as same-sex parents, trans inclusion in sport, and how conversations can change cultures.
And next, the Women's Indian Premier League have agreed a 5-year broadcast rights deal with Indian network Viacom 18, worth £95 million, catapulting the tournament to one of the most valuable in women's sport before the tournament has even started. The first WIPL game will be played in March, with Jay Shah from the Board of Cricket Control of India saying this will revolutionise women's cricket, not just in India, but across the globe.
Zara Björk-Gunnarsdottir has won her landmark case against Olympique Lyonnais, who failed to pay her full salary during her pregnancy. Her experiences both highlight the encouraging progress that's being made through protection policies and demonstrate that we still have a long way to go. In her piece for the Players Tribune, she wrote, "The victory felt bigger than me. It felt like a guarantee of financial security for all players who want to have a child during their career."
And now it's time for our main story. Last month, the Football Association of Wales agreed to a deal that will allow men's and women's senior players to be paid the same for representing their country. A positive step, given that while equal pay, or a lack thereof, has been an issue in other sports, it has been particularly prevalent in the world of football.
The sport has a history of gender inequality, with the FA banning women's participation for 50 years until 1971. Nearly another 50 years later, in 2017, a report found that 88% of players in the Women's Super League earned less than £18,000 a year. In comparison, men's Premier League players were found to earn over 100 times as much, averaging £50,000 a week.
The Welsh FA's announcement follows in the footsteps of an encouraging amount of football's national governing bodies last year, such as most recent World Cup winners and runners-up, the US and the Netherlands. In 2020, the English FA announced that they had been paying the men and women's teams equally in terms of match fees and match bonuses since January that year, following controversy around the Women's World Cup prize money, which stood at £3.2 million compared to the men's money of £29 million.
In a joint statement, the Wales men's and women's team said, "We hope that this will allow for future generations of boys and girls to see that there is equality across Welsh international football, which is important for society as a whole." So,
in order to enable this, the men's team agreed to a 25% pay cut to enable a 25% pay rise for the women, ever embodying the Welsh mantra of Together Stronger.
Many sports and other industries could learn from this show of solidarity, with a 2021 report stating that only 9% of UK employers pay the same median hourly pay rate to women as they do men, with nearly 80% paying women less. But while it is an extraordinary display of allyship, it's not always realistic, especially in a cost of living crisis, to expect individuals to take cuts to allow for equal pay. So what else can be done?
In sport, we can first look to national governing bodies to enact greater equality levels in practice. Brands can follow in the footsteps of Barclays, TikTok and PepsiCo to do their best to platform women's sport. As an industry, we need to create opportunities for female athletes to generate commercial revenue for responsible assets. We also need to highlight organisations such as Women in Football and the Women's Sports Trust, who are actively working to increase the visibility and advance the professionalisation and commercialisation of the women's game.
And no matter what your role or organisation, you can always ensure that you're applying equitable, diverse and inclusive practices for parity across the board.
Well said. And you can keep these conversations going by getting in touch with us via LinkedIn or email with any thoughts or stories you'd like to discuss. The marathon continues.